My name is Martin Jordan. I'm the Assistant Managing Director of Cilento Wines in Woodbridge. It's an AQA winery. We have our vineyards in Niagara, and we are here to do a wine tasting tonight. We have 4 wines to choose from. We're going to be tasting them all, and then later on we're going to be tasting them with some food as well. Should be very entertaining, enlightening, learning evening for us tonight.
Can you give us a brief history about Cilento Wines?
Cilento Wines was licensed in 1995. It's owned by Angelo Cilento, and we opened our doors to the public in 1997. We've been selling our wines in Woodbridge ever since. It's a little easier to sell to Toronto than it is out in Niagara, so that's why we located there. To fully appreciate wines, we have to use all our senses. Our sense of sight, smell, and taste. The more we get used to using all our senses when we are tasting wines, the more likely we are not only just be able to appreciate it, different kinds of wines, but the more we are likely to remember that wine as well as time goes by. Very important when you want to describe a wine to a friend, and that person should be able to figure out whether they will actually like it or not by your description. That's the whole idea here.
So any prize-winning wine from Cilento Wines?
We have many awards at Cilento, from European prestigious competitions to our own local wine competitions here in Ontario and right across Canada. We've won many awards at Cuvée, Ontario Wine Awards, and the Canadian Wine Awards as well. That's why we like to promote our products, because we know they're good. For more information about our wines at Cilento, you can visit CilentoWines.com, and you'll be able to see the many different kinds of wines that we have. But in order to really taste our wines, you better come into the winery. We're open 7 days a week, 9 till 7 during the week, Saturdays till 6, or even open on Sundays as well. They're very easy to get to, just off the 400 at Langstaff. Just turn left, left, left from Toronto, you're there.
Yes. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Cilento's Spring Wine Tasting Event. Are you all ready to celebrate? Absolutely. We would like to thank Mr. Pierre C. for tonight's entertainment and the song The Magnificent Seven. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you, Pierre. At this time, I would like to introduce the host of this evening's event. Will you please welcome to the stage Miss Martina Mock. Yay!
Hi, good evening, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the spring wine tasting from Cilento Wines. We are here on this very special event to celebrate a tradition that has been around for thousands of years. And here we are tonight to keep the tradition going. Now, I would like to welcome from Cilento, the Managing Director, Mr. Martin Gordon.
Okay, so welcome ourselves into spring, and we are going to be appreciating here tonight. On behalf of Grace Cilento, the director of the winery, lives in Sedgwick, she called me this morning and said that her mother was in the hospital, and very serious. She called me again this afternoon and said that I'm being admitted into Etobicoke General, so she cannot be with us tonight. But I will send all the sentiments to her, and she'll join me out. Thank you very much. A little bit of history of Cilento wines. Cilento was born in 1995. In 1992-1994, Angelo Cilento thought about, or dreamed about, actually having an Ontario winery here in Canada. It took a lot of persuasion, a lot of red tape. Finally, Cilento was granted a
license. They started to break ground to build a winery in 1996, October. They opened the door to the public in October of 1997. Has to be my first day of employment at Cilento. It's been almost 10 years now. What we're going to do tonight, we are going to learn not only just about an array of wines here, but how to taste wines, how to appreciate wines. What we're going to learn here tonight, I know many of us are still very well versed in wines, but what we're going to learn here tonight will apply to anything we taste from now on. Not just wine, but everything. That means food, that means other beverages. The more that we can use our senses to appreciate foods, wine is food, the more we are going to be able to remember exactly what it was, whether it's next week, next month, or next year as well. So now first on the agenda is basically what we create here in Ontario. All wines of the world can be categorized into two, and that means hot climate or cold climate. We're obviously cold climate here in Ontario, a bit of an understatement there. The main difference is how the grapes grow. In hot climate, such as Spain, Portugal, Australia, California, the grapes ripen up quickly. The sugar levels can go very high. The acid levels, as any fruit ripens up, will drop down. The art of the grower or the winemaker is to pick those grapes at the right time. Because if sugar levels go too high, we get too much alcohol and an unbalanced flavor or a hot flavor. The acid levels go down too low, that means that the wine will taste very flabby, unbalanced. Here in Canada, as perhaps in Germany, Eastern Europe, Northern France, or Italy, it's a little bit of a different story. We have to pray that we get enough sunshine hours, that our sugar levels do go high enough, and our acid levels come down to make a balanced wine. When those conditions are correct, we can have a glorious product with finesse and grace. Those are the wines that can age for many, many years when it comes to reds. So now, we're basically going to learn how to taste. We'll go through this first wine with all its glory as far as tasting goes. And then after that, we'll speed people on through the next three wines. You'll be able to make up your own mind here. You'll see that we also have some score sheets to take notes of as well. And what that will do is it will allow us to, well, not only just keep track of the wines, but you might be surprised at how a certain wine scored compared to what you thought it might score at this point here, at the beginning of the night. Very often, many people will say, well, I don't like red wine, or white wines. Well, here we have a white wine here, and if you score it according to your appreciation of the wine, you might be surprised at just how well you do like that wine, actually, at the end of the evening. So now the first up, of course, when it comes to appreciation is appearance. In score sheets that you can score appearance up to 4 points there. We're going to look at the wine. Okay, we're going to hold it up. You want to use a white background. Another reason why we have the light color, the white color sheets in front of us here. That white background will give us a very, very neutral background, an unbiased look at each wine as we go through the tasting here. The color, yeah. If it's a lighter, or should say, if it's a younger white wine, you can expect to have a lighter color. As wines age, they oxidize, just as any other fruit will do. An older white wine will have more of a gold, amber tinge to it. Well, just say gold, greenish, gold, dark yellow tinge to it. If it starts turning amber, that means that we've had too much oxygen. The wine has gone over the hill and won't taste quite as nice as perhaps it did last year or last 2 years ago or such. White wines generally only last 3 to 5 years. There's always exceptions to the rule, but that is the rule of thumb. White wines are reductive. That oxygen gets to the wine and it changes the whole character very, very quickly. Red wines are oxidative. It likes a little bit of oxygen and it will age gracefully according to the wine itself. So now, have a look at the color of the wine. Write down what you think about that. This is a Vidal. It is from the vintage of 2005. So it has some time in the bottom. You can expect it to have some color there. To me, it seems to come across some green tinges in there. It's nice and clear, always a good sign too. And what you're going to do is to really appreciate the look, kind of tilt it on its side, and notice the coating of the wine as it falls back to the glass. That coating, after a while, turns to little droplets, and those are kind of known as legs. It gives you an indication of the body of the wine, perhaps the sweetness of the wine. Once again, allowing us to remember what this wine is, what it looks like as time goes by here. So, next on the list is aroma. We're going to use all our senses here for these wines. It's pretty difficult to listen to the wine unless it's a sparkling wine. However, we can notice the aroma of the wine. And the funny thing about aroma is our sense of smell is one of our most powerful senses. Sometimes we can hear a tune and that might remind us of a certain time in our life. Sometimes we can taste a food and that might take us back to mother's kitchen or something like that. But it's our sense of smell that can transport us to another time in our life like nothing else. Our sense of smell is our most important sense as far as appreciation of food as well. Of course, this one too. Now, we normally pick up about 5 flavors when it comes to eating something or drinking something. But we can notice thousands of different aromas in wines or other beverages as well, especially wines. The most fascinating thing about wine is that it really doesn't smell or taste like grapes, like grape juice. Once you ferment all that sugar out, you have a whole myriad of different flavors and aromas in wines. And that to me is just phenomenal. Normally at a professional wine tasting, we don't yell out exactly what it is that we smell in the wine. I love to hear that myself on a personal basis because I think it's fascinating. So do notice what's in your glass, what comes to mind. Usually what comes to mind first is the best thing to go by. Because if you think about that, whether it's negative or positive, your brain might say, well, wait a minute, don't say that, it doesn't sound very good. But usually, that's what's going to hit your mind next week, next month, or next year as well with that same wine. So do notice it. And also, just because something doesn't seem to come across very well to you, or it doesn't sound complimentary, does not necessarily mean that it's a slight or a negativity towards wine. Very often, certain wines can be described as a body sweat, ammonias, different types of flavors such as, well, we won't go into that further. It doesn't sound very nice, but it does not take away from what that wine is. There's many different aromas that are not necessarily complementary, but once you get used to it, there is nothing else like it. Think about brie cheese or camembert cheese. We can describe that as, well, some things that don't sound very good. However, once you develop a taste for that, there is nothing else like it. So that's what I love about wines, and what they taste like, or what the aromas come across to me as. So now, taking a few notes as well, if you write down a few things, then it helps you once again to remember what those wines tasted like. Even if you write it down and throw it away, our power of memory is much, much stronger. So you've noticed what the aroma is like here, and you've perhaps written down a few notes and some marks. Now it is time for, of course, the taste. I mentioned before that wine can be broken down into wines or flavor. What we taste. We've broken down into one of 5 different categories. First of all, on the tip of our tongue, we taste sweetness. Next, we taste saltiness. Now, we're not going to have any saltiness in our wine, hopefully, anyways. However, it might be in some of the food that we are also eating along with that wine. After saltiness, we start getting what's called umami, or protein or savory. That is in the center of our tongue. After that, we get acid. That's down toward the back of our tongue here. Acid is, of course, tartness with fruit. It's also spiciness from hot peppers as well. That's acidity. Last, on the back of our tongue is astringency, or bitterness. That's what lingers with black coffee or very, very strong tea. It's that bitterness that's in the back of the flavor. Now, with white wines, hopefully we don't have any bitterness there or tannins, but we certainly can have that with certain red wine. It all adds up to the type of style of the wine that is in your glass, or the label that you have purchased. So now, we have tasted the Vidal that I have here. The Vidal grape variety is a hybrid. Most grapes come into 2 classifications, and the first one is the Labrusca grape variety, which is native to Canada. It's a cold climate grape variety. It's the grape variety that certain wines of yore, in other words, back in the old days here in Ontario, is made from. And Maria Christina and the Baby Ducks and Alton Wise, that sort of grape variety, make those wines. It actually makes a better jam than it does a wine. However, that was the only grape that grew here in Canada about 25 to 30 years ago. Since then, we started to import and plant the Nifra grape varieties. These are the classical grape varieties of Europe. That means, of course, the Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Pinot Noir. It was never thought that they could grow here. However, a few passionate growers out in the Niagara region was able to make those vines survive our very harsh climate, our very harsh winter. And when they survived, a few other growers said, that's interesting, but well, let's see if it actually fruits. It takes a couple of years before a vine actually bears any fruit worth making wine from. Those vines survived. They made wine from those grapes, and it worked out pretty good. It worked out very well. So that's when the real Canadian wine industry was born. From there, VQA was formed. That's the Vintners Quality Alliance, which is based after the French appellation system. It's a classification of wine, the quality of the wine. In Italy, they call it DOC. And here, VQA means that the grapes are grown to rules and regulations, the wine is made to rules and regulations, and the wine has to be tasted by a panel of VQA board members in order to pass. So when you see VQA on a bottle, you know pretty well what's in that bottle. When you look at a VQA label, it tells you a lot about where the grapes are grown, what grape varieties, and of course it has the vintage as well, to give you an idea. We all lived through the summer of last year. We know what the summer was like. The year before, the year before. If you can't remember 2 years ago, then try to pick up a bottle of 1995 Vidal, and that will tell you what our summer was like, or many of the other grape varieties too. That is what VQA is all about. It has heightened and transported our wine industry to world-class wines. And that's why I'm very appreciative of everybody who is here tonight to taste our wine, to learn much more about it, and be proud of what we have. I started working in the restaurant industry many years ago, and I'm learning about food, and I'm learning about wine. The restaurant is called the Vintage Room, and I'm thinking, my gosh, wouldn't it be nice if we could make some decent wines here in Ontario? Well, those days have come and gone now. Very happy about that. It makes my heart very happy. So now, we have tasted our Vidal, and Very reasonable wine. It's less than $10. Now we're going to move on to the next one here. A few comments, actually. Love questions. If anybody has anything to say about the wine, please let me know. What do we think? Anybody dislike this wine? All you red wine drinkers, I'm not talking to you. I mean, is there anything about the wine that you don't like at all? Yeah. Don't chime in. Oh, so very good. Next, we're going to taste wine number 2, which is a rosé. It is made from the Vidal grape variety once again. But you can see it's very different in many aspects here. The aroma is very different than the first one that we had. Obviously the appearance is very different as well, because it's a rosé. The flavor, also quite different, considering that it's made from the Vidal. But it's the Vidal along with the Gamay. Gamay is Beaujolais grape variety from Burgundy. It contains 9% of the Gamay grape. With only 9% in there, it really changed the color, it really changed up the character of this wine quite a bit. It's a drier style of a rosé. Unfortunately, here in North America, and we're talking about the United States, right through Canada here, it has come to pass that most rosés are on the sweet side. It seems to have actually a reputation of being a sweet wine, and that just is unfair. It makes a beautiful dry wine. As a matter of fact, in hot climates such as Spain and Portugal and south of Italy, and south of France for that matter, which is very, very hot, rosés are made dry. They are made and they are consumed by the ton in the afternoon, early evenings. Because you would treat it more of a white wine, you chill it down, and you enjoy it nice and full on a hot afternoon. There's nothing more refreshing than that. Perhaps a beer, except for the beer, right? Okay. I'm just saying I usually have a beer when I go home after a hard day of wine tasting. Nothing better than that. Except maybe a rosé on a hot day. Now, this is the sort of rosé, once again, less than $10 a bottle. It is the sort of wine that you can put over ice if you want to. Mix it with soda water. Make some coolers out of it. Make some sangrias out of it. Cut the alcohol down on a hot day so it doesn't knock you over so fast. And enjoy it. That is the whole idea here behind our dry rosé. Hope that you liked it. Mark down your scores there, and we'll see how it fared later on. Now we're going to go to our red. Wine number 3. So far, the 2 and number 3 wine is our Renaissance line. This is a name that we give a line of wine that we put out that is very inexpensive, very good value wines. Nice, thin ordinary, everyday drinking wines. This one, the Renaissance Red, again, less than $10 a bottle. And it is made from the Gamay and the Zweigelt grape variety. German variety. German cold climate grape variety. A red grape that, if it grows well in Germany, we know darn well it's going to grow well here in Ontario as well. Once again, the cold climate thing is coming forth. More of a fruitier style of a red grape variety. Our Renaissance up to last year was made from the Baco Noir and Marechal Foch grape varieties. Besides the fact that a lot of people have never heard of those varieties, these are hybrids like the Vidal that does not mind a cold winter. Early ripening makes for a nice wine, but it's a particular wine. It's a type of wine that either you embrace it and you love it, or it's not to everybody's taste. After 3 to 4 years, actually it's been 4 years that we've been making the Renaissance from Baco Noir and Marechal Foch, we thought that it was time for a change. So that's why we made it with the Gamay and the Zweigelt grape variety. We purchased some last year, we fermented it, the production put some samples together, and together we tasted and said, what the heck was this wine here in this glass? And they told us that was the Gamay and the Zweigelt blend, and we said, wow, that's really nice. We like that. That's why it's now in the bottle. It's just come out. We have just finished bottling it. Hopefully, we like it. Wine is a very subjective thing. Just because I like it doesn't mean that you have to like it. Or doesn't mean that it's the best wine in here. Because you just may have different tastes. And we all have different tastes. But it doesn't mean that you're not going to like this in 2 or 3 years from now. Because our tastes are always changing. So when someone says, well, which wine is the best? I say to them, well, what's for dinner? Because there's no such thing as the best. The best is always the enemy of the good. We have all different kinds of tastes, and hopefully they're changing. Some of us, their tastes change a little faster than others. But think about it. Our favorite foods were probably 10 years ago, a little bit different than today. Hopefully will be another little bit different in 10 years from now, or 5 years from now, whatever the case is. So, why I'd love to get feedback from our wines. So that's why we're also going to fill out the questionnaire that we have here, so we can get feedback on our wines. We can do this in the future, make it better and better as time goes by. And I'd just love to hear what you think about our wines at Cilento. So you can all mark that down now. And move along here to wine number 4. Coincidentally, this white gal is a 2006 vintage. And we hear a lot about vintages, don't we? You know, is it a good year or is it a bad year? Well, let me tell you, when we're referring to vintages, we are referring to cold climate. When you think about Australia, when you think about California, it's always a good year. One year might be more excellent than another because the climate is incredible out there. It's just beautiful for growing grapes, for ripening up the grapes, but it sure makes for the same type of wine all the time. I like a little variety. So when we talk about vintage, we are talking about colder climates. And we mean the northern area of France, the northern area of Italy. And those areas vary from year to year. The climate changes an awful lot. Therefore, the flavor of the wine changes an awful lot. That's why I can remember what 2004 was like. The summer of. I can remember 2004, if I remember 2004, it was kind of a cloudy summer actually, but we had a good fall. 2003 was a very good summer that we had. It was nice and hot. It was our second drought year. The first drought year was 2002. I remember all these years, all these summers, and I guess it got a lot to do with the winter as well, according to the wine that we made here in Ontario. It's just fascinating. It's just wonderful that not only just making good wines here, but we are actually getting world recognition now. Any winery that you go into here in Ontario, in the Niagara region, you will see many, many different awards hanging on the walls. Those awards are given not just in Canada, but internationally as well. The wines are tasted blind, and according to how it scores, it rates whatever kind of medal. Bronze, silver, gold, or best of show. Cilento Wines has won the best red wine at the All Canadian Wine Championships with its 2000 Pinot Noir. In 2001, we won the very best white wine in Italy. 3 competitions that are held in very high esteem in the world. One is in Italy, one is in Expo, which is France, and the other is called Concours de Mondial in Brussels, in Europe. We won the very best white wine of the show in Italy. It's a gold medal at the Olympics for Canada is what that means. We're doing it here. Many wineries in Ontario actually have so many awards. There's hardly any room on the walls in their little shows or little retail stores. That means that we are doing a very good job here. We must keep an open mind to what we are doing here, the type of wines, and soon we will have a signature with our wines, just like France does, or just like Spain does, Australia as well, that sort of thing. It's coming. It's happening. BQA helps with that. It doesn't have to be BQA to be a good wine, of course, but it helps everybody to learn about wine. It keeps us on our toes. So wine number 4, coming up here now. What do we think about that one? This one is Cabernet Sauvignon, 50%. This Cabernet Franc, 30%. And 20% is the Merlot. We get away with calling Cabernet Merlot on the label because of the Cab Franc and the Cabernet Sauvignon. Cabernet Sauvignon is famous from Burgundy. Oh, sorry, I'm saying Bordeaux, of course, sorry. And it grows pretty well here. The Bordeaux in France is a cooler climate. Quite as cold as us, but it's still considered cool climate. And when you make red wines from cooler climate, it has a lot of elegance. It goes very, very well. You taste the acidities that come through. What do we think? What do we think of this one? Nice blend. Lots of flavor up front. Lots of concentration of the fruit. Oak, tannins, nicely balanced. Not bad right now. We'll be able to find that out with some food a little bit later on. Also, this would be a nice wine to age, to lie down to if you wanted it. I figure it's probably got 10 years behind it. It might have more. Hard to say. But I think you can lay this down for 10 years if you want to. As time goes on, the acidities round out, the oak and the tannins round out, the fruit actually comes forth as the finish drops down, and then we have a very smooth flavor that happens as it ages in the bottles. Not bad right now. It's a nice wine to lay down. Yeah, it's a little over $10 a bottle here on this one, and you look at BQA wines at the LCBO, it's hard to find a decent wine for less than 10, and most of them now these days are around $16, $17 a bottle for anything that I feel is a passable wine. I think this one fits the bill. Any comments? Any questions about any of the wines, especially our Cabernet Merlot? Okay, we've all marked down our scores on the wine list here on our scoring sheets. Now we are going to find out how much you have been paying attention here today to me yapping about all these wines. Okay? I got some questions. I want you to put up your hand, and when I point to you, if you answer the question correctly, I have a prize for you. Okay, are you ready? When did Cilento wines officially become licensed here in Ontario? 95 is correct. Shameless promotion. There you are. Oh, you're very happy. All right, be open for a call here. BQA. What's it mean? BQA. Hands up. Yes, sir. Very close. Very close. Very close. I don't see any other hands up. That's close enough for me. Okay? Vintners. Quality Alliance. There you are, Edward. Thank you very much. Okay, next question. Quickly here now. Let's see. What percentage of Gamay was used in our rosé? That's Vidal Rosé. Your sisters. Your sisters. No, okay. All right. You're right. 9%. That's correct. They are sisters. Your sisters. I think we're all brothers and sisters here after tonight. All right. Let me put this down here. I'll trip over it. What famous wine region does the Gamay come from, and what kind of wine does it make? The cameraman has his hand. Oh, he's just adjusting the focus. Okay, sorry. I'm not going to stop moving. No, I'll say it. Yes, sir. Over on this side of the room. What's going on over here? Are you guys drinking all your wine? Okay. All right. Yes, sir. What was it?
What's the question again?
What's the question again? The question is, how much have you had to drink? Okay, no, the The question was, what famous wine region does the handmade grape come from, and what kind of wine does it make?
That's right, it's the Beaujolais.
That is correct. The Beaujolais. Very good. It comes from Burgundy. Squeeze two of these chairs here. Very well. Enjoy. I need three of them here with this microphone. Germany, of course, Germany. Yes. All right, here you go. Oh yeah. Okay, drop. It's called a. Hey, you already won. Who else said? Okay.
Oh boy, okay, you're going to be on my next record, okay? Right now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, at this time, the president of the Toronto Chinese Community Service Association, Mr. Frankie Y.
And also, Chris.
Oh yes, let's hear it for everyone so far. We all having a good time tonight. Stephen and Janice Chan's anniversary, 10 years! Let's hear it! Oh my gosh, stand up, come on! Fantastic! That is fantastic. We're going to be starting to taste your wine. Totally amazing. And enjoy your food and...
Yeah. Thank you.
Cilento, wine is like a station for connoisseurs. Cilento wine
我捧杯嗰啲即係喐緊啊，緊膠杯啊，哇！食一個水先，
Thank you. Wine Cilento Winery International Headquarters in Boston. Cilento, wines of the season for connoisseurs. For connoisseurs, you can experience award-winning wines imported by wine connoisseurs around the world.
大佬啫，我唔係老你咁多㗎咋。Thank you. So you have enough chance to be right after you finish the filming.
Robert Gaskin. Wow. Today's Queen Martina.
你就同我名得㗎啦，冇人知㗎。
There we go, roll, roll, roll. Let's go, over the nose.
Go asleep.
Fantastic.
好嚟啊，集隊。
Picture time.
影下鏡頭唔該。
Here we go, rolling, 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 rolling.
Sunny Chen.
Here we go for a photo.
Too sunny? Too sunny?
We should ask the other Sonny, deal or no deal, right? There we go. Barrel. Fantastic. Well, I'll tell you. Who do we have? Who do we have? I'm a psychic. It's me.
Gary Baxter.
Come on, fantastic. Oh my God, that's a lucky table. Smile for the camera. Here we go.
Albert. Roy. Or boy.
Albert, where are you, boy? Albert.
Oh, what a great basket.
Oh, that's a big basket up. Hey, Albert, can you share that? Yes, we have another draw. This is a biggie. This is a biggie.
Mary Fresno.
Gentlemen, before you go home, make sure you go by and touch that table. It has a lot of luck.
我哋今日咧3月26號咧喺 La Rosa Grand Hall 嗰度咧搞咗個 wine tasting， 係幫 Cilento Wine 搞嘅。今日咧就好多人嚟參加，大約咧係150人，個個都好 enjoy 呢啲酒。
咁好多謝各位啦，咁嘅準時嚟啦，同埋贏到好多獎品，咁多謝晒。
咁我哋 Aromantic Wine 咧係幫做一啲organizer 啦 event 嘅 organizer，especially 咧就係 wine tasting 啊，做啲 seminar 啊咁樣，同埋咧我哋咧有做 food basket 啊，同埋咧我哋一齊咧買酒嘅時候咧就可以送到door to door 嘅，咁樣我哋就 start with 一個 cases 賣嘅。
咁除咗呢啲之外，如果你哋係有咩 corporate events 啊，我哋都可以幫到手，譬如 wedding 啊咁都得嘅。
我哋聯絡電話咧係我 Martina， 我係 Martina Mo 416464680。
我叫 Vincent 啦，係905862025或者係41652612200。
好多謝今晚咁多嘉賓嚟參加我哋呢個 event， 非常之多謝，同埋今晚嘅 event 咧好成功。
多謝晒。